All right, I want you to come back in time with me. We're not just going back to any old year, but to a single, very specific month that really captures a nation at a crossroads. We're heading to India, February 1976.
And this, right here, is the heart of what we're digging into today. This idea of two parallel realities existing at the exact same time. You see, on one hand, you had a nation under the firm, unyielding grip of the state. But on the other hand, you had a nation finding its escape in poetry, in music, and in sport.
So, here's how we're going to unpack this incredible moment in time. First up, we'll look at the political stage. Then, we'll get into how the public script itself was literally being rewritten. After that, a bit of a plot twist, an intermission for romance and pop culture. And finally, we'll tie it all together to see what this portrait of a nation in suspension really looks like.
Okay, let's dive right in. Think of this first part as Act 1, set on the national stage. And the main character? No question about it, it was the government. And the theme of the play? Discipline. Lots and lots of discipline.
Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with this period, it's absolutely crucial to understand the backdrop. This was all happening during a time known as the emergency. For 21 months, normal democratic processes were basically put on hold, giving the central government these incredible, sweeping powers.
And wow, did February 1976 kick off with a bang, a real show of that power. So check this out. On the very last day of January, the regional government in the southern state of Tamil Nadu dissolved. Just like that. By February 1st, it was under what's called President's Rule, basically direct control from the capital. The message was crystal clear. Dissent would not be tolerated.
And get this, the scale of what happened next is just staggering. Just 2 weeks after taking over the state government, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi holds this massive rally there, and more than 1 million people show up. Can you even picture that? It was this huge visual statement of authority designed to inspire awe and, let's be honest, to ensure compliance.
But, this control wasn't just about big political rallies and gestures. No, it went way deeper. It was about fundamentally reshaping the country, both the physical land and, maybe even more importantly, the information people were getting.
And in February, 2 huge things happened that really show this shift. On the one hand, you had the Urban Land Act. This was a radical law aimed at changing who owned the very ground under people's feet in the cities. And at the exact same time, something equally seismic was happening to the news. 4 completely separate news agencies were all merged into one single government-sanctioned entity.
And this is so important to grasp. With the creation of this new agency, Samachar, the news wasn't a conversation anymore. It wasn't different perspectives bouncing off each other. It became a monologue, a single, state-approved broadcast. All those diverse voices that made up the Indian press, well, they were effectively silenced.
Okay, so you have this official performance of discipline and control playing out. But while all that's going on, what's the audience doing? What are everyday people up to? Well, they're finding an escape. So it's time for a kind of intermission here, a dramatic shift into the world of movies, music, and sports.
And maybe the biggest escape of them all, that month, was found in the dark, cool refuge of the movie theater. Because February 1976 saw the release of a film that would pretty much define an entire era, Cubby Cubby.
Now, this was not just another movie. It was a massive cultural moment. It took the era's biggest star, Amitabh Bachchan, who was famous for playing the angry young man, and completely transformed him into this sensitive, tragic poet. And why does this matter so much? Well, in a public world that demanded discipline and one single message, this film offered a sanctuary for private, messy, complicated emotions. Its music became the background noise for the whole decade, a beautiful, romantic veneer for a very, very stern time.
But it wasn't just the movies. The whole country found another shared obsession, another place to escape, the cricket pitch. India was right in the middle of a big test series against New Zealand.
And this really was that other reality we've been talking about. Cricket gave people this communal experience that politics just couldn't get its hands on. You had millions of people huddled around their little transistor radios, listening to the crackle and the commentary, following legends like Sunil Gavaskar. It created this shared national rhythm that had nothing to do with politics. You could almost say the roar of the crowd was filling the silence that the press had left behind.
Okay, so let's bring these two worlds, these two parallel realities back into the same frame.
In this last part, we're going to see how these totally different experiences come together to paint one single, unforgettable portrait of a nation.
And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? Look at the two sides here. In one column, you have the official performance, direct rule from the president, these huge new land laws, the news getting merged into one voice. And in the other column, the audience's escape, poetic movies, romantic songs, brilliant batting, and that shared, crackling sound of a cricket match on the radio.
You know, there's a quote that just nails the feeling of this time perfectly. It describes a nation caught between two worlds, where the hard, rigid lines of the law met the soft, escapist melodies of the cinema. The thing is, both were equally real, both were happening, and both defined what it meant to be in India in February 1976.
Which leaves us with a really big question to chew on. In times of intense political pressure, what role does a nation's culture play? Is it just a simple escape, a way to forget what's going on, or is it something more? Is it in its own quiet way a form of defiance, a reminder of all the private, emotional, human lives that keep going, no matter what's happening on the big national stage?